They found her body in a hotel room in Lekki Phase 1. She was 19 years old, wearing a designer dress that cost more than her mother made in 6 months. Her phone had 47 missed calls from her roommate. Her Instagram had 23,000 followers, and her bank account had 450,000 naira that her family didn't know existed. 3 months before she died, she had posted on her Instagram story, "Suffering is not my portion. Broke life is a choice." The post got 2,000 likes. Her name was Kayamika, but everyone called her Chichi, and this is the story of how wanting the good life killed her. There was a girl who grew up in Ajagunal, one of the poorest areas in Lagos. Her father was a bus conductor who worked from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. Her mother sold vegetables in the market. They had 5 children, and Kayamika was the second. The family lived in a face-me-I-face-you compound. 1 room for 7 people. They shared a bathroom with 12 other families. They cooked on a small stove outside. They ate twice a day if they were lucky, once a day when things were hard. Kayamika was 10 years old when she decided she would never be poor when she grew up. She watched rich people drive past their compound in big cars. She saw girls her age wearing nice clothes, carrying expensive bags, eating in restaurants. And she made a promise to herself. I will have that life, no matter what it takes. She was a smart girl, very brilliant in school. Her teachers said she could go far if she worked hard. She came first in her class from primary 3 to primary 6. Her parents were proud but worried. They didn't have money for good secondary school. They could barely afford the cheap schools. But Kayamika got a scholarship to a decent secondary school in Surulere. Not the best school, but better than what her family could afford. She was excited. This was her chance to escape poverty. Secondary school was where everything changed. At her new school, most of the students came from middle-class families. They had things Kayamika had never imagined. New uniforms every term, lunch money, smartphones, money for class parties. They talked about holidays in Dubai and London like it was normal. Kayamika had none of these things. Her uniform was washed so many times it was faded. She never had lunch money, so she pretended she wasn't hungry. Her school shoes had holes that she covered with black marker. She didn't have a phone until SS2, and even then it was an old Nokia her uncle gave her. The other students didn't let her forget she was different. They didn't openly mock her, but the whispers were there. The looks. The way they excluded her from groups. The way they talked about expensive things in front of her, knowing she couldn't relate. Chi-Chi, you're coming to my birthday party at Genesis Restaurant? I can't. I have family thing that day.
Oh.
Okay. The truth was she had no money for transportation, much less for a gift or food at the party. But she was too proud to say it. One girl in her class, Sophia, took pity on her. Sophia came from a very wealthy family. Her father owned several businesses. She invited Kayamika to her house one day after school. When Kayamika saw Sophia's house, something broke inside her. The house was bigger than her entire compound. Sophia's bedroom alone was bigger than the room Kayamika's whole family lived in. There was a generator, so they never had power cuts. There was always food in the fridge. Sophia had her own laptop, her own TV, her own bathroom. This is how people live. Kayamika thought, while my family is suffering in one room, people live like this? The jealousy that grew in her heart that day never went away. She went home and looked at her family's situation with new disgust. The small room, the noise from neighbors, the smell of sewage from the blocked drain outside, the constant struggle for money. I can't live like this, she told herself. I won't. When Kayamika was 16, in SS3, she started noticing something. The prettiest girls in school always had money. New phones, nice clothes, expensive hair. They ate in the school cafeteria every day while other students went hungry. One day, Kayamika asked one of these girls, Jennifer, how she always had money. Jennifer smiled. You're a fine girl, Chi-Chi, you can have money too. Easy money.
How?
Jennifer looked around to make sure no one was listening.
Men.
Rich men. They like young girls. They pay well. Just for hanging out, going to parties, keeping them company. Nothing too serious. You mean? I mean whatever you want it to mean, Jennifer said. Some girls just go to parties and collect money. Some girls do more. It depends on you. But the money is good either way. Kayamika was shocked, but also curious. How much money? Depends on the man. Small men give 20,000, 30,000. Big men give 100,000, 200,000. For one night. Some even give more if they really like you. Kayamika's mind calculated quickly. Her father worked 14 hours a day and brought home maybe 50,000 a month. These girls were making that in one night? Think about it, Jennifer said. If you're interested, I can introduce you to someone. But you have to be smart about it. Don't tell anyone. Not your friends, not your family. This is business. Keep it quiet. Kayamika thought about it for 2 weeks. She knew it was wrong. Her mother had raised her to be a good girl, to stay away from men, to focus on her studies. But when she looked at her life, at her family's suffering, at the way poverty was crushing them, she thought, maybe just once. Just to get some money for school fees. Just to help my family. That was the lie she told herself. Just once. It's never just once. Jennifer introduced her to a man called Uncle Tund. He was 42 years old, fat, married with 3 children. He owned a printing business and had money. Not super rich, but comfortable. He took Kayamika to a restaurant in Victoria Island. She had never eaten in such a nice place. He ordered food that cost more than her family's weekly food budget. He was nice to her, asked about school, told her she was beautiful, made her feel special. At the end of the night, he gave her 30,000 naira. Just like that. Just for having dinner with him. This is for being good company, he said. If you want to see me again, let me know. I take care of my friends. Kayamika took the money home and hid it. She couldn't believe how easy it was. 3 hours of her time, and she had 30,000 naira. Her father would have to work for almost a week to make that. She told herself she wouldn't do it again. But 2 weeks later, when her family needed money for her younger brother's hospital bills, she called Uncle Tund. This time he wanted more than dinner. She knew that. He had paid for a hotel room. Kayamika was 17 years old when she lost her virginity to a married man old enough to be her father. She cried afterward, in the bathroom, while he slept. But when he gave her 50,000 naira the next morning, she dried her tears and told herself it was worth it. It's just business, she whispered to herself. It doesn't mean anything. That was the second lie she told herself. It always means something. After that, it became easier. Uncle Tund would call her once or twice a month. She would go to him, spend a few hours, collect her money, and leave. She used the money to buy things she needed. New school shoes. A better phone. She even gave some to her mother, lying that she won it in a school competition. But 50,000 once a month wasn't enough anymore. Once you taste that kind of money, you want more. Need more. Jennifer introduced her to more men. Richer men. Men who paid 100,000. Then 150,000. Then 200,000. By the time Kayamika wrote her WEC and got admission to study mass communication at Lagos State University, she had saved 800,000 naira. Money her parents knew nothing about. When she got to university, she met girls who made her look like a beginner. These girls were professionals. They called themselves babes. They had multiple uncles who took care of them. They lived in nice apartments. They drove cars. They wore designer clothes. They traveled abroad for holidays. One of these girls, Tracy, became Kayamika's mentor. Tracy was 21 in her 3rd year, and she was living like a celebrity. She had a 2-bedroom apartment in Lekki, drove a Benz her uncle bought for her, and wore clothes that cost hundreds of thousands of naira. You're doing it all wrong, Tracy told Kayamika. You're selling yourself too cheap. With your face and body, you should be getting at least $300,000 per night. You need to upgrade your clients. How do I do that? Kayamika asked. You need to look the part. These big men want girls who look expensive. You need to dress better, do your hair better, take better pictures. You need to be on Instagram showing lifestyle. That's how you attract the really rich ones. Kayamika started investing in her appearance. She bought expensive clothes, even though she couldn't really afford them yet. She went to expensive salons. She took professional photos and posted them on Instagram with captions about living her best life. She changed her Instagram name to Chi Luxury and started posting like she was rich. Pictures at nice restaurants. Pictures at clubs. Pictures of designer bags and shoes. Some real, most borrowed or rented just for the photos. The strategy worked. Rich men started messaging her, asking who she was, asking if they could take her out, offering money. Within 6 months, Kayamika had upgraded from men like Uncle Tund to bigger men. Politicians, business owners, oil company executives, men who paid $500,000 for a weekend, men who bought her designer bags, men who flew her to Abuja and Dubai. Her Instagram followers grew from 200 to 5,000 to 15,000 to 23,000. Girls in her school started envying her. Boys started trying to date her, but she ignored them.
Broke boys, she called them.
Why would she date a student when she had men giving her hundreds of thousands? Her roommate, Amaka, started asking questions. Chi, how do you have all this money? Your family is not rich. Where is all this coming from? I have a business, Kayamika lied. I sell things online. But Amaka wasn't stupid. She knew what was happening. Chi, this kind of life is dangerous. These men, this lifestyle, it doesn't end well. I've seen it before. Mind your business, Kayamika snapped. You're just jealous because you're wearing the same clothes from last year, and I'm wearing Gucci. That's what the lifestyle does. It makes you mean. It makes you look down on people who used to be like you. It makes you forget where you came from. Kayamika's family noticed the changes too. She came home less and less. When she did come, she dressed too nice. Had too much money. Her mother asked her directly one day, Kayamika, where are you getting all this money? Please tell me the truth. Are you doing something bad? Mama, I told you. I have a business. I'm doing fine. Why can't you be happy for me? Her mother looked at her with sad eyes. I know what this Lagos life does to young girls. I see it every day in the market. Girls who start dressing fancy, girls who have too much money, girls who forget their home training. It never ends well, Kayamika. Please, whatever you're doing, stop. But Kayamika didn't stop. She was making more money than she ever imagined. She was living in a nice apartment now, sharing with Tracy. She had moved out of the school hostel. She wore expensive clothes. She ate at nice restaurants. She posted pictures that made other girls jealous. She was living the life she always dreamed of. She was a big girl now. But there was a price. There's always a price. The men she dealt with were not nice men. They were rich, yes, but they were also dangerous. Married men who treated her like property. Men who were rough with her. Men who made her do things she didn't want to do. Men who sometimes didn't pay as much as they promised. Men who threatened her if she complained. One man, Chief Balagan, was particularly bad. He was a politician, very wealthy, very connected. He paid well, sometimes $700,000 for a weekend, but he was also violent. He hit her once because she refused to do something he asked. She wanted to stop seeing him, but Tracy warned her. Don't cross Chief. He's dangerous. He has power. Just do what he wants and collect your money. Girls who cross him end up in trouble. So Kayamika endured. She smiled when she wanted to cry. She did things that made her hate herself. But the money kept coming, and the money made it easier to forget the shame. When Kayamika was 19 in her second year, she started using drugs. It started at a party. One of the big girls offered her cocaine. "It helps you relax," she said. "Helps you enjoy the parties more. Helps you deal with the uncles." Kayamika tried it. And it worked. When she was high, she didn't think about what she was doing. Didn't feel the disgust. Didn't remember her mother's disappointed face. Soon she was using cocaine every weekend. Then twice a week. Then, whenever she had to see one of her uncles. The drug made everything easier. Made her feel powerful and beautiful and untouchable. But cocaine is expensive. Even with all the money she was making, the drugs ate through it. She needed more money. Always more money. Tracy introduced her to a man called Alhaji Mustafa. He was one of the richest men in Lagos. He paid girls 1 million naira per weekend. But he was also known for being dangerous. Girls who went to him often came back different. Some stopped doing the business completely after. Some disappeared. "Don't go to Alhaji," Amaka warned her. "I've heard terrible things. Please, Chichi, you have enough money. You don't need this." But Kayamika needed the money. The drugs were expensive. Her lifestyle was expensive. She had bills to pay, bags to buy, pictures to post. She couldn't look broke. She couldn't go back to being poor. So she went to Alhaji Mustafa. That weekend broke something in Kayamika that could never be fixed. What Alhaji did to her, what he made her do, the things that happened in that house, she could never speak about it. When she came back, she was different. Quieter. More hollow. But she had 1 million naira. So it was worth it, right? That's what she kept telling herself. After that weekend, Kayamika started using drugs more heavily. Not just cocaine, but other things too. Things that made her forget. Things that made her numb. Things that made her not care about anything. Her grades started dropping. She stopped going to classes. Her friends from school tried to reach her, but she pushed them away. The only people she talked to now were other girls in the business and the men who paid her. Her Instagram still looked perfect. Smiling pictures. Designer clothes. Living my best life, captions. 23,000 followers who thought she had it all together. But inside, she was falling apart. One night, after seeing one of her regular clients, Kayamika took too much cocaine. Way too much. She didn't mean to. Or maybe she did. Maybe part of her wanted it to end. She was in a hotel room in Lekki Phase 1. Alone. The man had left hours earlier. She took the drugs and lay on the bed, feeling the rush, feeling the numbness she craved. But this time, the numbness didn't stop. Her heart started beating too fast. Her chest felt tight. She tried to reach for her phone to call for help, but her hands wouldn't work properly. She lay there, dying, in a designer dress, in a luxury hotel, with more money in her account than her father had ever seen in his life. Her phone buzzed with messages. Her roommate Amaka calling. "Where are you? Please come home." Her mother calling. "Kayamika, please pick up. I'm worried about you." Messages from men asking when she was free. Comments on her Instagram. "You're so beautiful." Goals. "I wish I had your life." But Kayamika couldn't answer any of them. Because she was dying. The hotel staff found her body the next morning when she didn't check out. She was 19 years old. The police investigation was brief. Accidental overdose.
Case closed.
They contacted her family. When Kayamika's mother got the call, she collapsed. When her father heard, he couldn't speak for 3 days. Her younger siblings couldn't understand how their sister, who seemed so successful, who seemed so happy, could be dead. The funeral was painful. Her mother cried so hard, she had to be held up by relatives. Her father stood like a statue, broken, unable to process that his daughter was gone. The other big girls from school came to the funeral wearing all black designer clothes. They cried and posted sad messages on Instagram. "Rest in peace, Chichi. You were a queen." Within a week, they were back to their normal lives. Back to the same lifestyle that killed their friend. At the funeral, Amaka, the roommate who had warned her, said something that haunted everyone who heard it. She wanted to be a big girl so badly that she forgot being alive was more important than looking rich. She died wearing expensive clothes, but she died alone, in pain, far from everyone who truly loved her. What kind of life is that? After the burial, Kayamika's mother found her daughter's diary hidden in her room. In it, Kayamika had written her true feelings, the things she never said out loud. One entry, written 2 months before she died, said, "I hate what I've become. I hate the things I do. I hate the men I see. I hate looking in the mirror. But I don't know how to stop. I've gone too far. If I stop now, I'll be poor again. If I go back to my family's compound, back to that one room, I think I'll die. But living like this is also killing me. I'm trapped. I chose this trap. And I don't know how to get out." Another entry, written 1 week before she died. "Mama called again today. She's begging me to come home. She says she knows something is wrong. She says money isn't everything. She says she wants her daughter back, not these expensive clothes and designer bags. She says she doesn't care if we're poor as long as we're together." I wanted to tell her I'm sorry. I wanted to tell her she was right. I wanted to tell her I'm dying inside. But I didn't. I lied again. I told her I'm fine. Why do I keep lying? Kayamika's mother read that diary and wept for days. Her daughter had been crying for help but was too proud to ask, too deep in the lifestyle to see a way out. The tragedy of Kayamika's story is that it didn't have to end this way. She was brilliant.
She had a scholarship.
She could have struggled through university like millions of other students, graduated, and built a legitimate life.
But she wanted it all now.
She wanted the good life immediately. She couldn't wait. She couldn't struggle. She saw other girls living large and wanted the same thing, no matter what it cost. And the cost was her life. After Kayamika died, her Instagram account stayed active. 23,000 followers still seeing her pictures. Still commenting goals and beautiful on photos of a dead girl. Nobody deleted the account for months. So her fake perfect life kept existing even though she was gone. Some of her uncles didn't even know she was dead. They kept sending messages. "When are you free? I miss you. I want to see you." Messages to a corpse. The 450,000 naira in her account went to her family. They used it for her funeral. The rest they gave to charity. They didn't want that money, as they called it. Money that came from their daughter selling herself. The designer bags and clothes in her apartment were sold. The girls she lived with split them up. Life moved on for everyone except the family who buried their daughter. 1 year after Kayamika died, Amaka, her former roommate who had warned her, wrote a post on her Instagram. It went viral. "1 year ago, my roommate died chasing a lifestyle that looked perfect on Instagram but was killing her in reality. She was 19. She had her whole life ahead of her. But she believed the lie that being broke was the worst thing that could happen to her. So she did things that destroyed her soul just to look rich on social media. And now she's gone. If you're reading this and you're doing runs, if you're selling yourself for designer bags and trips to Dubai, if you're lying to your family about where your money comes from, please stop. The lifestyle is not worth your life. Poverty is temporary if you're willing to work hard. But death is forever. My friend learned that too late. Don't be like her. Please. The post got 50,000 likes and 3,000 comments. Half the comments were from girls saying, "Thank you, I needed to hear this." The other half were from girls saying, "Mind your business." We're not all the same. The girls who said, "Mind your business," are still out there. Still chasing the lifestyle. Still believing they're different. Still thinking it won't happen to them. But Kayamika thought the same thing. Every girl in that life thinks she's smarter than the last one. Thinks she can control it. Thinks she'll get out before it gets bad. They're all wrong. Because the lifestyle doesn't let you go easily. It hooks you with money and comfort and luxury. It makes you dependent on things you don't need. It makes you ashamed of where you came from. It makes you willing to do anything to maintain the image. And one day, you wake up and realize you've sold everything that mattered for things that don't. Your dignity, your self-respect, your soul, your family's trust, your future. And unlike designer bags and cars, those things can't be bought back. Kayamika's younger sister is in SS2 now. She's brilliant like her sister was. Teachers say she could go far. But she's also poor like her sister was. She wears faded uniforms and has no lunch money. Recently, a rich man approached her outside her school. "You're very pretty," he said. "I can help you. I can give you money. All you have to do is be my friend." Kayamika's sister looked at the man. She thought about her sister buried in the cemetery. She thought about her mother, who still cries every night. She thought about the diary her sister left behind full of regret. And she said, "No, thank you." The man looked surprised. Girls don't usually say no to him. "Are you sure? I can give you a lot of money. More than you've ever seen."
"I'm sure," she said.
"My sister took money from men like you. Now she's dead. I'd rather be poor and alive than rich and in a grave." She walked away. The man didn't follow. Maybe that's the real lesson of Kayamika's story. Maybe that's what her death bought. The wisdom for one girl to make a different choice. But one girl saying no doesn't fix the problem. Because right now, in Lagos, in Abuja, in Port Harcourt, in every city, there are thousands of Kayamikas. Young girls who look at poverty and decide they'll do anything to escape it. Girls who see other girls living large and want the same. Girls who believe the lie that suffering is optional if you're willing to sell yourself. And some of them will die like Kayamika did. In hotel rooms. Alone. With money in their accounts and emptiness in their souls. Because the truth that nobody wants to say out loud is this: the big girl lifestyle is a trap disguised as freedom. It promises you everything and takes everything. It shows you luxury and gives you death. Kayamika wanted to be a big girl. She became one. And it killed her. That's the story. That's the warning. That's the price of wanting too much too fast and being willing to pay with the only thing you can never get back: yourself. Real talk. Some people will say Chi-Chi was just greedy and got what she deserved. Others will say poverty pushed her into it and society failed her. What do you think? Was she a victim, or did she make her own choices? Drop your honest opinion in the comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel for more amazing video. Thanks for watching.